Hey guys, so today I thought I would do a 2015 reading update. I thought I'd do this because I haven't been on BookTube, obviously, to do TBRs or wrap-ups. So I thought I would just kind of wrap up the last 7 months or so in one video, just so that you can kind of see what I've been reading this year. And then I guess at the end of 2015 I will do a full-on wrap-up and maybe rate all the books I read or just do like a top 10. But right now, I'm just going to tell you all I've read and what I gave them rating-wise, and maybe a little bit as to why I gave them that rating. So I started off my year with the lowest rated book I have read all year, and that was 50 Shades Freed by E.L. James. This book has a lot of controversy behind it. I'm well aware that it was fanfiction, Twilight fanfiction, and I've seen the movie. The movie was terrible. The first 2 books were better, but this one sucked. I gave it like 2 stars on Goodreads, and I think even that was high. This was terrible. It didn't need to be written. I mean, honestly, there didn't even need to be a second book. The first one was probably fine. They could have combined the first 2 and it would have been fine. This was so unnecessary and just a bad book. Next up, we have Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle, maybe? I don't know. I gave this 3 stars on my Goodreads account. It was fine. The John Green one was the best. The Lauren Miracle one was kind of annoying, and the Maureen Johnson one was also kind of annoying, but cuter. I definitely liked the John Green story. The other ones were kind of, I was kind of indifferent to. Next up, I read Hey, Let's Make a Band by 5 Seconds of Summer. I got this for Christmas as well. I love 5 Sauce. It's one of my favorites. They're definitely great. But I rated their book 4 out of 5 stars. It was cute. I liked it. I pretty much knew everything that was in this book. It was nice to hear it from their point of view, though. Yeah, it was a decent band biography thing. They're funny and cute, so it works. Next up, I read Oedipus the King by Sophocles for my detective fiction class in college, and I rated it a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I've read it before. I read it in high school, but it was a good story. You know, it's one of those books that you kind of have to read. You gotta read at least once, and yeah, it's alright. Next up, I read Message in a Bottle by Nicholas Sparks. This is like the second time I want to say I read this book, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I do really like this for some reason. I like the whole sailing aspect of it. I have like a personal connection to the sailing aspect of it. The ending sucks. It's really sad, but it's a Nicholas Sparks book, so you can kind of expect that. I've read pretty much every Nicholas Sparks book that has ever been written, and this is not one of my all-time favorite ones, but it is up there. I definitely think that it's less predictable than the other ones, which makes it better. Next up, I read The Murders in the Rue Morgue, The Dupin Stories by Edgar Allan Poe for my detective fiction class. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars because it is not my all-time favorite detective fiction. Edgar Allan Poe writes good stories, detective-wise, but they're kind of crazy. You can't really predict, like, you can't do like a real whodunit with it because they are kind of just like, wait, what? But they're fun. It's cool. I definitely like the ones, because there are like I think 3 or 4, maybe 5 stories in here, and I liked the ones we didn't read for class. I just kind of read for pleasure, and I liked those more than the ones that, like, the Purloined Letter and the actual Murders in the Rue Morgue that we didn't read for class more than the ones we read for class. Next up, I read The Walled City by Ryan Graudin, I guess. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. I thought it was a little slow in parts. There were parts where it was just kind of like, alright, can we keep going? I definitely like the different perspectives that the book gives you, and how one is basically in a brothel and you kind of get to see from her, like, perspective, which is pretty intense. It's a pretty intense book all around. I definitely enjoyed it, however. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read 6 Great Sherlock Holmes Stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, also for my detective fiction class, if you can see a trend, what a lot of these books are from. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I definitely like the Sherlock Holmes stories more than the Dupin stories because I think that it's easier to understand, first of all, because of it's less Old English, and they're more fun. I think it's still really hard to solve them because Sherlock Holmes is a mastermind, but I think you're given a lot more than you are in the Dupin stories. Next up, I reread A Bend in the Road by Nicholas Sparks. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. This has always been one of my least favorite Nicholas Sparks books. I don't know, I just don't like the characters that much, and I don't think the ending's predictable per se. I just think it's kind of annoying. I don't know what it was about it. I think I liked it more the first time I read it, and then the second time it was just sort of like, okay, whatever. I think that probably had a lot to do with it, the fact that I knew the ending. But yeah, I probably won't be rereading this again, but 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I have heard very, very mixed reviews about this. I think it's because I haven't been too up to date on other books. Like, I've pretty much just read like Divergent and Hunger Games, and I didn't really delve in to a lot of the other dystopian-esque novels at that point. So I think that's why I liked this a little bit more. I definitely noticed a lot of parallels to Divergent and the Hunger Games and other more dystopian novels that I've read, but yeah, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars though, because it was exciting, it was interesting, and it was just what I needed at the time. I was really in the mood for a dystopian read, and it hit the spot. So 4 out of 5 stars, and the cover is gorgeous. Next up, again in detective fiction, we read The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars because this one has an amazing ending. I really like the ending, I enjoyed it a lot, and I think you are given not everything, but a lot. Unreliable narrators and everything else kind of makes it a little difficult, but I think you're given a lot more than you may be given in Sherlock Holmes or Dupin stories, so that makes it fun, and I don't know, I liked this one a lot. Next up, I read The Guardian, also by Nicholas Sparks. I've just read quite a few reread quite a few books of his this year. This is one of my favorite Nicholas Sparks books. I rated it 4 out of 5. It's probably number 3 after The Longest Ride in Safe Haven, but I liked it because it shows the perspective of the bad guy, which I really enjoy in books. I think that's cool because I like knowing more about the villain, and you definitely get this in this book. Next up, we have Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I actually gave my mom the like 3 set of all the Gillian Flynn books, and this is one of my favorites. It's probably my second one. I don't want to give too much away because this story is very messed up. Just, Gillian Flynn writes a lot of messed up stuff. Every book I've read of hers is pretty twisted, and I really enjoyed that. But this one's good. I don't want to give it away for you. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Wow. I definitely enjoyed it though, so worth the 5 stars. Immediately after finishing Sharp Objects, I started Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. This is my favorite Gillian Flynn novel. Yet again, very messed up, but 5 stars because it was just so enrapturing. I read it on I read it in one sitting on a train back to school, and I just really liked this one. It goes along with the whole detective fiction trend this last semester has had for me. This was so twisted, but so good. Next up, I read The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett for detective fiction. I only gave this 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but I feel like I liked it more than any other book we've read in that class, so I feel like I should have given this more stars because I did enjoy this a lot. It is the hard-boiled detective fiction, like not so golden age, or pretty much what the other ones are, except for Roger Ackroyd, which is kind of a mix. But this, very hard-boiled, a lot tougher, rough and tumble than the other detective fiction novels we read, and I appreciated that a lot more, so I'm not sure why I gave it, I mean, it's not a low rating, 3 out of 5 isn't low, but it's kind of like an average rating, and I feel like I liked it more, so that surprises me that I only gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I probably would have given it like 4 if I were to remember correctly, but yeah. Read that. After that, I finished up the Gillian Flynn thing and I read Gone Girl. I saw the movie before I read the book, which I think ruined it a lot for me. This one's frustrating. It's kind of annoying. It's obnoxious. I liked it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, which is surprising because I feel like I didn't like it as much as that. my memory is kind of messed up and how much I love books, because like I think of Maltese Falcon, I think really great book, and then I think Gone Girl and I'm like eh, but yet I gave this one a higher rating. I don't know. It's kind of predictable. It's more predictable than her other novels are, which is why I like the other novels more, but this one's still really good. It still has a lot of hype to it. A lot of people hate the ending. I kind of like the ending in a way. It suited it. I think it suited the book. After that, I read The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know what to say about this book. It was good. It was the detective fiction thing that I was going through at that point. It didn't wow me. I thought there were a lot of moments where the main character really irked me, and I kind of guessed the ending probably like a quarter of the way through it. So, and as it kept going, it just became more and more obvious that I was correct, so that kind of took away from it. I kind of like the Gillian Flynn aspect where I'm not totally sure, and you feel way more like accomplished with Gillian Flynn's writing if you guess the ending. In this one, it was just sort of people loved this. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. In comparison to the other books I'd read surrounding this, it was average. Next up, I read An Unsuitable Job for a Woman by P.D. James. I really liked this book, but apparently I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Sorry, I keep looking at my phone. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. This, I believe I said, was my favorite of the detective fiction class, like when he asked us. I think it's cooler because she's a woman, and that's cool. Like, you know, like all the other ones are men, and you know, you get really used to that, and I kind of liked the fact that she was a woman and she was emotional and like she had like ties to people, unlike the other detectives did. But yeah, like we talked about it in class about how is this really like a feminist novel or is it anti-feminism and everything else. I just liked it because she was a woman, and I thought that was pretty kick-ass, so yeah. So after that, I read all 7 of the Harry Potters. Again, I've read each of them at least 5 to 12 times. I've read the first 3 at least 10 times each, because I tend to start and then stop. But yeah, I read all 7 of them. After reading them that many times, I think it's going to be quite a while before I read them again, just because I started getting kind of like, okay, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Yes, I know, yes, I know, yes, I know. And I kind of was bored with the first 3. It used to be that I was bored with the first one, then the second one, then the third one, and I was even bored with the 4th one because I've read it so many times. The 5th one irks me because he's irksome. I love the 6th one. I've always loved the 6th one, and the 7th one is fast becoming my favorite just because I think I've read it less times than the other ones, and I think I enjoyed it more because I didn't really remember as much as the other ones. I did all of them 5 out of 5 stars because they are my favorite series of all time. I don't think anything will ever top Harry Potter for me, and it's fun to read them again, even if I'm kind of rushing it at times. So yes, those are all the books I've read in 2015 so far. I hope to keep you more up to date month to month, or even review to review from here on out. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all the normal stuff, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!